Saskatoon always has something fun to do. We have Shane and Fallon here with us today. We're going to talk a little bit about something coming up on December 7th. Thanks both for coming to the studio.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having us.
I want to talk about what's going to happen. Shane, maybe to you first. What did this kind of come from? Where did the idea generate from?
Sure. Okay. Well, Fallon and myself, we play a lot of music around Saskatoon and elsewhere. And we were toying with the idea of having a fundraiser, sort of pre-holiday, Christmas themed holiday for a local charity. And so we came up with this idea to have a concert involving some community partners, small businesses, different artists that we know here in Saskatoon. And we've called it Luxe and Light. And it's going to be on December 7th. And so, yeah, we brought and sort of in the spirit of sharing and community, we've brought a bunch of different elements together, some different business partners, which I think I can mention. We're working with We Manage to put this event on. Weebworks, we have Aaron Wright Real Estate Services as a sponsor, and a bunch of other groups, including Colors and Cubes, Captured Beyond Today, Copper Blue Design. We're going to do photos, we're going to do video, and it's all going to be around the spirit of giving.
I think it's neat to see this come together, and Fallon, if you can tell us about the event that night. If I walked in, what would I expect?
Definitely you're going to see beauty. You're going to see a little bit of glitz and glamour. We will be playing some tunes, some classic soul tunes. An exceptional group of musicians are joining us, along with Ibani Debuziak will be there with us to open up. And the show kicks off at 7. At Studio 301 here in Saskatoon, a beautiful venue here in the city. And tickets are $55 in advance and $65 at the door. But it is going to be a beautiful event, so bring your sequins.
Tell me, if you mentioned musicians, so is there more than a band, or is it a series of people playing together?
So we're going to start with an acoustic set by a local songwriter, singer-songwriter. Her name's Ebony Debuzek. So she's going to play. I might join her for a couple tunes as well, too. We'll have breaks throughout the night, so a short set of music, little breaks. We'll probably have some games and such as well. And then Fallon and I are going to play, hopefully, two sets of danceable, hopefully enjoyable, some soul tunes, some...
Sprinkling holiday favorites.
Yeah, some Christmas songs as well, or at least our reasonable facsimile of Christmas songs as well too. And we do have a band of some local folks from Saskatoon, a couple of my friends from Prince Albert that I've spent a lot of time with over the years. And so it'll be interesting. We have piano sounds, we'll have bass and drums, of course, a wind instrument, friend of Fallon's that's joined us for this show. So it'll be great.
What do you feel is kind of a showcase a little bit about local musicians or musicians for a cause? What do you think your contribution to the musicians are bringing towards us on that night on the 7th?
I think it's definitely bringing it home, supporting home, being here in this beautiful city, this beautiful province, and saying, you know what? This province, this city, it sort of raised us. It created who we are as musicians, as people. We just want to give back. And so it's a beautiful way to support one another.
I like the fact that there's partnerships all across the board, not only on the musician side, but sponsors and so on. With the Food Bank and Learning Center and the dog rescue volunteering as well, do we just kind of pull that out of the air, or how does that tend to migrate to helping them with the greater needs that they're providing for the city?
So we've got some... the food bank actually has a couple other campaigns that we don't necessarily need to speak about here, but we're going to incorporate those into the event as well too. Day of event I'm talking about. But obviously that's I think we all understand what the need is in this city and beyond that. On a more serious note, I wish we could do these kind of events every time I played music, right? Like, I wish, our culture and our world was more focused towards that kind of presentation. That being said, I think it's a small opportunity for us to, try to do something to give back. The Saskatoon Pet Rescue, or Saskatoon Dog Rescue, I guess is what it is. I've been to one of their events before, and I was quite impressed. Actually, it was beautiful. It was at a private place as well too. And there's ability to fundraise. They rescue dogs, I believe, from the north, from different areas, from rural areas and that too. But what they do, one of the things that they do for other organizations is that they'll show up at your fundraiser, and obviously for part of the donations as well too. They've come up with a menu, I guess, of elaborate cocktails and mocktails and that, and so people can buy that. So it'll be a cash bar, right? And some of those proceeds will end up going to our cause, and some will go to their cause. And another community organization I should mention, because I forgot at the beginning, is something called People's Bridge Advocacy, and they do a lot of cultural events in town, and they're going to provide some of the food as well too. So the food that people get will be part of the ticket price, but alcohol and drinks will be cash purchase, if that makes sense.
How do we look at the musicians? Do you kind of belong in that world, and you know Bob and Judy, and phone them up and see if they'll come and play? How do you kind of pull that evening together? You must have some inherent background of knowing the crowd, music that you're going to play. How does that come together for you?
Well, I think we're both established musicians, playing music all of our life, having other jobs outside of that. I'm a teacher at Edie Fee in high school here in the city, but music has always been a part of my life, and I think Shane and I met just by happenstance at some point, and decided that our worldviews aligned, and we thought, what better way to create a little bit of change or feel like you're inspiring other people than to do it through music. So
I like the fact that it's open. It's not just a closed event. I would suggest that December 7th you would want people to get their tickets in advance, so that there's no
Absolutely.
one waiting.
Absolutely, yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say it will be limited capacity. So we've designed. It's not a huge venue, but we want it to be intimate. We want it to be personal. So yeah, I suggest people grab tickets as soon as possible. I know people are already purchasing them online. You can find it if you Google Luxe and Light Saskatoon. We also have a Facebook event as well too, and I believe maybe you're going to put up the actual link here as well for folks. So you get on there, and it's a quick buy, quick purchase, $55 I believe in advance, and then we will have tickets at the door. I'm hoping there won't be any tickets available at the door. So grab your tickets quickly. And that's I think all I want to say about that. But we look forward to entertaining and spending that sort of night together as a community.
So talk a bit about yourselves coming into this then. You mentioned music all your life. Did that start at home, or were you introduced? I don't even know what instruments you play. I should ask that maybe first.
I consider myself to be a vocalist, a singer-songwriter.
Yep.
A lot of my platform actually comes from my own Indigenous experience as a First Nation Cree person from Red Pheasant First Nation. So the language has always been very vital to me. Both of my parents were first language Cree speakers, and I thought, how can I contribute to that revitalization of the language? Well, through contemporary song. And so I released a Cree Christmas album in 2020 and then 2021, and it garnered international attention, actually, CBC, CTV. And from there, I released my own hybrid English Cree contemporary album in 2022 that garnered the Saskatchewan Music Award, the inaugural Saskatchewan Indigenous Music Award. And so for me, it's been language, but definitely just having that ability to connect to people through song has always been kind of my passion. And I know for Shane, he's an established musician as well, and he can tell you more about that.
Okay. I also like to think of myself, I suppose, as a better singer but I play guitar, I play some harmonica, some other instruments as well, which I will do that evening. I look at, sort of just tagging on the last part of what you said, I sort of look at music in the context also of community. In my life, I guess personally, one of the things I really value is that ability to connect with people and to be able to to be able to come across and meet people and converse and dialogue with people that you might not otherwise have the chance to. And I've spent 12 or so years of my life living in different countries outside of Canada as well too, and I've always done music, living overseas, mostly in Asia and Latin America too. So that's really valuable to me. I sort of look at it like that. I also write songs. I played for quite a few years with a band, Saskatchewan-based band called Almighty Voice, and we did most of our own original music at that time. But yeah, all of those things I think are important.
If you're seeing people there that night, is there any seeds that we can plant that they could maybe connect with you, or for the charitable causes that they could reach out and maybe I can obviously see some inspiration coming from you with recording and doing what you're doing. Is there any message that anyone watching might capture from? You might want to plant a seed for trying to play, sing, go somewhere, come to this event, and maybe get inspired in that way.
Yeah, that's well put. Like, yeah, I think, if I may, yeah, I think there's definitely room for that. There's room for, especially now, I think people in a hard spot, right? And I think there's lots of room for doing more collaborative events and activities within our community. If you want to call it giving back or not, I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but I do hope that this can be a little bit inspirational as well too. If in advance, leading up to this, people do want to get a hold of us, which I'm very comfortable with. Being approached like through social media as well is fine too, but we're also working with We Manage, and I could maybe just say Casey would be the best point of contact, and so that would be CASEY at wemanage.com, and We Manage is WIE manage.com. And so if anyone was interested, for example, I know a couple of my friends aren't going to make it, but they like to donate. And we're open to that too. Get a hold of Casey, and we can process that. We do have a couple more things that we'd like to source sponsorship for. So some small businesses, if anyone's interested, get a hold of myself
Sponsorship
or
opportunities
Casey.
are there for
Opportunities like that, or if they have
Yeah.
something interesting that they'd like to contribute to the event that we haven't really mentioned, that's great.
Right on.
Yeah.
Thank you both for coming in and sharing that with us. December 7th. It sounds interesting. I won't be in the city at that time, but we'll certainly get the message out there. And best of luck to you in this new endeavor.
Thank
you
you,
so
Mandy.
much. Thank you for having us.
Right on. That's our show for today. I'd like to thank our guests Shane and Fallon from the Luxe and Light event, as well as Adria from the Gather Local Market. I'm your host, Randy Shabila. We'll see you next time on Connect.